get his services. All of that is available to him on one platform, end to end, right from identity management to establishment of identity to payment for the services, everything in one single platform. And it is also going to support the SDG, the Kutumba Vikasam, the SDGs and the Kutumba Vikasam and the Societal Vikasam, Samajika Vikasam. Now, what's the approach? The life cycle of this e-Pragati, the way we see it for all the services is, right from the birth of an individual to the death. Recently we discovered we had to go even beyond the death. Now, what do we mean by birth? There are various services which are associated with the birth of an individual, right from the registration of his birth, birth certificate, and then comes education. So school, college, high school, high school, college. In this sequence, in this program, the government is also planning to build smart classrooms. So the content is also coming in, so that all the students avail the best of the content and avail the best of the learnings. Democracy, the voting and the registration and e-voting rights, so on and so forth. You know, we have at various stages right till the death. In the death, it's the death certificate. So do we stop over there at the death? Then we realize, no, it's beyond that. After a person dies, there is a requirement of mutation of the documents, there is execution of the will, there is a transfer of property, etc. All these services to be brought onto the e-Pragati. This is the life cycle of an entire e-Pragati program. What are the fact sheets of our e-Pragati? Now, the most attractive thing would be the yellow ones. We have 72 projects going on and 14 packages and to be implemented in 4 waves. Now, the RFPs for these are under preparation. The FRS has been completed for most of these projects, and the RFPs are getting finalized. In next few weeks, you'll see a lot of the RFPs going out for tendering and inviting proposals for participation. What's the budget capital outlay for that? It's about 2,400 crores. The government is committed to execute the e-Pragati program, and it has allocated clear budgets for these programs. So what exactly is the e-Pragati meta model? See, the core of it, we have the e-Pragati core, which is a platform wherein it's an open architecture platform wherein all the services are available for the citizen to avail them. And then the next one is the common applications. In the common applications, we have the performance management, the citizen engagement, the GIS Hub, the People's Hub, etc. People's Hub has the data about the people, their demographic profiles, their address profiles, all the data which are concerned with the people. We are also planning to do a GIS Hub. We are planning to have an IT infra. We are also planning to have a data analytics. As a CEO e-Pragati, my fundamental responsibility is the data analytics and the e-Pragati core platform. Apart from that, we have the group application. We have the applications with the primary sector, which is the agriculture, horticulture, fisheries, marine, etc. So we have the education sector over there, the healthcare, safety, it is Safe AP, it's not safety, Safe AP, disaster management and land hub. So that's the group applications we have. Then we have the department-specific applications like smart energy, smart water, rural development, urban development, EPDS, it's already under implementation, temple management, excise, card, etc. And then over that, we want to make APIs available for the private sector to consume those APIs and then build up applications which bring in value to the citizen. This is the application architecture. You can see there are various projects that are listed out at a high level. The various programs listed out at higher level. So these programs, each of them have various projects, and all of them constitute about 73 of them. The central to that is the core platform. So there we have the e-Pragati portal, the e-highway, the CLGS, and the integrated payment interface. Now we have decided to do away with the integrated payment interface and instead of building it, take it out from the readily available solutions and integrate that. So we have the identity and access management, we have the app stores, we have the license management and the integrated SMS interface over there. Apart from this, we have few standalone projects. We have the People's Hub, we have the Land Hub, the Smart Energy, Smart Water, and the AP FiberNet, JS Portal, Data Analytics, etc. Now, what does this e-Pragati generate? It generates lots of data. So what we decided was, instead of looking at the data in a generic way, can we put it up into various buckets? And we put that into 5 buckets: the People's Hub, the Land Hub, the JS Hub, the Entity Hub, and the IoT Hub. So as it says, the Land Hub, it deals with all the matters with land. Like you have Aadhaar today, we're in the process of discovering something called as an Aadhaar for the land. We are trying to find a terminology for that called Bhu Aadhaar, something Bhumi plus Aadhaar, Bhu Aadhaar. So that will make the Land Hub. Similarly, we are planning to have a JS Hub wherein all the natural resources of the state, the flora and fauna, everything is digitally recorded in the JS Hub. Then we have the Entity Hubs for all the companies and corporations and societies that are there in the state. And then the IoT Hub, all the data that is there in the government sector, which is using the IoT sensors to generate the data. We want to bring that over there and create a huge platform. Now, apart from this, to realize this kind of a digitization, as everyone here knows, that the vital requirement is to provide the bandwidth. AP was the first state to realize that instead of depending on intermittent bandwidth availability, weak service providers, it is better to construct and lay down the fiber everywhere across the state and take this digital transformation or the e-governance to the doorsteps of the citizen. So hence, this journey started, and we have we are planning to connect about 13 million homes, 60,000 schools, and 6,580 healthcare centers. This is the plan. The schools will have the smart classrooms. The healthcare also, it's a smart hospital in the sense you will not have the best of the medical expertise in every hospital. So the plan is to have the local medical hospitals with the infrastructure to conduct the test and send the test results to a central hub, where you have a panel of expert doctors who would look at the test results and then give the prescriptive or the way forward for treating the patients over there. And then for the households, right from telephones, right to TV, to content management, to educate the citizen in every sphere of life. That's where the fiber grid is coming in. Generally, everybody has a power grid, water grid, road grid, and gas grids, but AP is the first state to bring in the fiber grid. Gentlemen, very recently, about 2 weeks back, I took charge of e-Pragati. And the day I took charge, the CM declared e-Pragati year as 2017 and 18 as e-Pragati year. So by the end of 2017-18, we plan to ground about 73 projects, make those services available to the citizen in such a fashion that the touch points between the citizen and the government are very, very minimal. Now, what are the opportunities? Why am I telling all this to the fintech? We have about 10 major RFPs to be released in the next few weeks. We have targeted by the end of March, few of them will be going. In fact, a couple of them have started rolling out. The core as an open platform, we got it cleared from the Honorable CM yesterday. And probably in a month or two, the core RFP will be out. Our entire architecture is an API producing and API consuming or API centric design and architecture. That's how the e-Pragati is being visualized. It is also a microservices architecture. And we plan to support a lot of open sources rather than the cart solutions if they are found to be working pretty well. The opportunities for the infrastructure players, we are planning to establish a hybrid cloud and a security operations center. What are the opportunities for the startups and the developers? App stores. Then the opportunities for content developers and providers, we are already laying a AP fiber network. Now, why am I telling all these things to this group? In all these services, the identity of the person, the authentication of the person, the payments that happen, which have to be pretty secure. Every service of it, as I said, we are planning to remove the touch points between the citizen and the government. Once you remove the touch points, the citizen is no more coming into the office. I will just digress here. I am also the transport commissioner for the state. Today, if you buy a vehicle in Andhra Pradesh, in any of the car dealers' showroom, all that you require to do is go key in your Aadhaar number, put in your fingerprint, and pay the money over there, walk out with the car, you take your temporary number then and there itself, and after a day and a half, the permanent number comes into your mailbox in a PDF format. We have done that since last few months, and we have done about 2.5 lakh of registrations of the new vehicles at all the dealer showroom. And we are the first in the world to do it. It's not in the country, we are the first in the world to do it. Similarly, we are also planning to release few other services where there's a transfer of ownership. I know most of you, the biggest pain point is when you buy a car and you want to sell it, you have to run through a lot of middlemen. And it's a very painful process. Very shortly, we'll be releasing that service, wherein people will have to authenticate themselves through Aadhaar. The entire transaction takes place by both the buyer and the owner sitting in their house, not even moving out of it. The transaction would be complete, and in real time, they can see the transfer of ownership of the car record from the seller to the buyer. This is one more achievement we are going to do it. Apart from that, the transport sector, for the transporters, one of the biggest pains is to obtain a permit. And, all the cabbies and all the transporters, they have to take the passengers, and generally the cabs get booked at the last minute. So we are putting up a service for the permit. Earlier, it used to take about 4 days to get a permit. Now, with the release of this service, which is shortly going to happen in this month, it takes about 32 seconds to release the permit. Earlier, we were doing the new registration at 79.2 days. Today, we do it in 1.5 days. Earlier, the transfer of ownership used to take about 4 weeks on average. Once we release the service, it's going to be a matter of 30 to 40 minutes. That's the digital transformation that's happening. And in each of these places, there is a requirement to identify the person, to authenticate the person, to have a secure payment. That's the reason why I'm presenting the ePragati for you. Thank you, and if you have any questions, please.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
basically,
yes.
I come from Bangalore. And most of the IT guys gravitate to Bangalore eventually, buy the cars in Delhi, buy the cars in Noida, buy the cars in AP, and it's a nightmare. The lifetime tax nonsense. Well, government rules. Is AP government, few months ago there was a talk that cars can pay a yearly road fee to run the cars of the out-of-state registrations in Hyderabad, I heard, that in Telangana state. Is there any such thing coming to AP? Like, I don't want to again pay 70,000 rupees and then register my car,
Yes, sir.
People
I
are
get
moving
your
around,
pain
right?
point. I understand your pain point pretty well. When you want to transfer your vehicle from Telangana to Andhra, there's a huge delay, and you have good number of doors to go and knock. We are digitizing that service, and probably in around April we'll be releasing it, and it will take you roughly about 30 minutes to do that. That's my promise.
No, not the registration part. If I have paid
No, you're
70,000
transferring your vehicle,
yeah,
right?
when I have paid 70,000 lifetime tax in Hyderabad for a car, I come here, I pay the 70,000 and I need to go there, get the money back.
That's the permit you're asking. So permit.
Yeah, permit. So
Yeah.
let's say if I am staying in AP for a couple of years, I don't know, I'm not staying here for the lifetime of the car. So can I do an annual payment as I pay as you use the roads in AP?
Permit is actually when you want to come into the state. Otherwise, you don't require a permit. And for a temporary stay, you don't even require any permit unless until it's a cab. If it's a personal vehicle which is coming into Andhra Pradesh, there is no permit. If you're going to stay beyond 3 months, then you have to transfer get the registration done in Andhra Pradesh. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Balasubramanyam. I don't think there are any other questions. Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
presentation. Oh, there is another question. Sorry, sir. I spoke too soon. There's one more question. I didn't see this.
Sorry. My name is Parag Jain. I'm co-founder of a company called ThinkBlink. We are looking at how we can work with the government of AP, and thus far the experience has been fantastic. One question and one comment. What you're doing on ePragati is really outstanding. We are essentially building a platform that will build on top of the use cases that you're talking about. So at some stage, it will be great to connect with you. There are also countrywide initiatives like the DigiLocker that the central government is working on. So the question was going to be, how will this integrate into the larger plan, assuming, of course, that people, resources, assets that are Andhra-based are not necessarily always going to be Andhra-based. They will go cross-border into other states, and then companies like mine are creating use cases for that kind of movement, as well as for international cross-border movement, where jurisdictions of the state and the government, central government, do not apply. And just in continuation with that, so just as a comment, when we started working with the central government on that particular initiative, it was very exciting. And not to be critical, but sometimes governments default to their legacy thinking. And more recently on the DigiLocker initiative, all the startups have been weeded out because they came up with a notification saying that we need a license to be a DigiLocker service provider that requires net worth of 50 crores and a bank guarantee of 10 crores and stuff, which is essentially a startup killer. So the comment was going to be that in the architecture you've defined,